For an hour of talk about all Tiger sports, we'll also discuss some of the top sports news around the state and around the nation. That's the Sideline Report, each Thursday morning at 9:03, right here on WPKY, The Tiger.
Welcome to the Sideline Report, brought to you by the Times leader, Todd Griffin and Ty Englebright in studio this morning to talk about everything sports. It's the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. And a very good morning. Welcome to the Sideline Report here on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger at 9:04. Good morning, Todd Griffin, and special guest David Brown as well.
Good morning.
Yeah. Hey, it's good to be here.
And we have another special guest on the phone this morning, Todd. I'll let you introduce who that is.
It's going to be a busy day on the Sideline Report.
It certainly will be.
We've got Dave Winder on the phone. He's the Associate AD at Murray State University, and we're going to talk a little racer sports. And Dave, it's always good to have another St. Louis Cardinals fan on the show.
Hey, it's good to be with you guys this morning as well. Hey, I'm not hearing you real good. I can hear you, but it could be a little better.
Okay.
Turn that hearing aid up.
Let me see if we got
You're
that.
not that old.
Yeah, I know. I need to.
Is that a little better, sir?
It's just.
Is that a little better? How about there?
There's better. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good deal. Good deal.
There we
Okay.
go.
They're trying to drown me out is really
right.
what's going on, and
What's
I
that
think
you
the channels got crossed.
We got the two Daves on here, but we want you to be able to hear. So,
Yes.
so thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk to David Brown a little bit later on about some things going on at Youth Incorporated Ballpark because he's the Youth Incorporated president. But wanted to bring in Dave Winder so we can talk some Murray State University sports. And first of all, coming off a big basketball season, I mean, everybody has to just be fired up to get going for that again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were just so excited to have that kind of a season. You know, it's not every day you have a season where you go 26-6. That was just incredible. Really, when you think about it, when Matt McMahon's team played 4 really tough road games to start the conference and then they split, I really believe that they knew and the whole team knew that if they were going to win the OVC championship outright, they had to run the table. And I'll be darned, that's what they did. They ran the table, and Jonathan Stark and Terrell Miller were just fantastic, and Ja Morant burst onto the scene as a freshman. And it was just a fantastic season, and it was great to have the racers in the conversation again at the national level at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's always fun to see Murray State's name out there on that line in the NCAA tournament, but man, that seemed like it was a tough draw getting West Virginia right there in that first game.
Well, it was. And, I tell people all the time, if you look at any sport in the OVC and you look at whoever our champion is, and many times it's a Murray State team, when you go to the next level, to the national championship level, here's the news flash. It gets really hard.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's golf or tennis or track and field, softball, baseball, football. It doesn't matter. It's just it's hard going. And to see what our soccer team just completed 3 straight OVC titles, and they went to the NCAA last fall and really battled Tennessee and lost 1-0 and actually had a couple of good chances to score. And then you look at our women's golf team. They went up to Madison, Wisconsin, and competed. I think there was 5 of the top 10 teams there at that regional. And it's always going to be hard for the OVC champion to compete at the national level, but that's part of the desire to win an OVC title, so you get a chance to match yourself against that kind of competition.
Well, one thing I've liked seeing recently is, there are some Caldwell County kids in the program at Murray State now, and that's great. And looking at the basketball program, a couple of kids from around here, Jalen Johnson from Hopkinsville, Javion Eves from Madisonville are joining the program. And, man, those kids can play. I mean, I think Murray State's got some good basketball players coming in.
Well, I just saw him yesterday, and Coach McMahon, he's got one of his youth camps going on this week. And I'll tell you what, having those 2 young men join our program is really, really something. And you guys got to see them both in person in high school. I never did, but you look at Javion Eves and what he was able to do at John A. Logan, and they've got a great program up there. They do a great job.
Yes, they do.
I think he really kind of grew into his body this past season. I mean, he's put together now. He's like a free safety. I mean, he's 6'4", he's over 200 pounds, and he really, really moves well. And then Jalen is quick on quick, and you know, he's a little taller than you might expect too. I mean, he's a legitimate 6 foot tall, and and to think that that Jalen's just a freshman, and then we've got JV on for 2 years. You know, we're just really excited about it, and all the new guys are on campus right now, and then we got the news yesterday that Ja Morant was invited to the Chris Paul camp. How about that?
That's pretty big.
I saw that. It's huge. It's huge, but there's a history there with the Murray State basketball that, well, my old buddy Howard Boone down there, he calls it point guard U, man. I mean, we get probably, if not the best point guards in the state. We produce them, and it's year after year after year.
Well, I texted Isaiah Cannon yesterday. I hadn't caught up with him for a while, and by the way, he sent me a great video of just maybe 30 seconds of a workout.
Oh,
and
sweet.
because you know he had that terrible dislocated ankle with the Phoenix Suns, and he's in the workout. He looked like he's moving pretty good to me, so I think he's certainly tracking to get back on the floor this season. But I texted him to find out what year was it that he went to the Chris Paul camp. He said he couldn't remember. He said, I think it was after my junior season, but I'm not for sure. So I looked it up, and I texted him back and says, you're getting old, buddy. You can't remember anything. And so it was 2012, right before his senior season, that Isaiah got to go to the Chris Paul camp. But Ja Morant, you know, what he was able to do last year was, I just thought that really put the Racers over the top. And this year I'm anxious to see, kind of like Cameron Payne did, how he's going to balance our need for him to maybe score a little bit more, but yet keep that great ability to keep everybody involved. Because, you know, he averaged 6.2 assists per game last year. That was second nationally among freshmen, just behind Trey Howard. Is it Trey Howard from Oklahoma? And then he was in the top 20 assists per game nationally. So, and he was scoring about 12 points a game. You know, can he score 18 points a game and then still keep that assist rate? You know?
I think he can. I mean, you know that when you got a Stark on the floor, you got to share the basketball, and obviously that, you know, Ja can go to the rim at any point in time, but I think it's part of his makeup to share it. I really do. I've watched him play several games, and it's just something that he enjoys doing, and I think it's part of his makeup. So I look forward to it.
Yeah,
what? Go ahead, Dave.
You know, he was. There was only 2 players in the NCAA last year that had 400 points, 200 rebounds, and 200 assists, and one of them was Ja, and the other one was John Elmore from Marshall.
Yeah, that's good company.
So that's pretty. You know, when I saw him get, was it 12 or 13 rebounds at St. Louis, I was like, holy moly, this kid. He's a point guard, yes, but I've never seen a point guard have the nose and the desire to rebound the ball the way he does. It's really incredible.
Well, being surrounded with other guys that'll block out and create those lanes, it was a special team, and I hope there's more. What about football? How are we ranked in the conference this time? What are where do we stand? What are our projections? Give us something to look forward to.
Season, and OVC Football Media Day is. Let me pull up my calendar. I'm pretty sure it's July 22nd down in Nashville.
Yeah, those things go around quick.
Yeah.
We haven't done the voting yet they'll have a media poll, and then they'll have a SID poll as well. So Let's see here. Let me just double check. I'm sorry, it's on the 23rd. It's on that Monday. So the Racers are going to open up August 30th against SIU. They go to Central Arkansas September the 8th, which they're a top 10 team.
Yes.
And then they got to go to UK on the 15th. And they've set that game time, by the way, for 11 a.m. Central Time. It's going to be noon in Lexington, so it'll be an early kickoff that day, a day game at Commonwealth Stadium, and it'll be either SEC Network or one of the ESPN stations. And then we open up play September 29th, family weekend at Murray State against UT Martin, and then we go from there. Jacksonville State's our homecoming opponent. That's going to be tough to play the defending champions on homecoming, but homecoming this year at Murray State's October 27th.
Well, like we said, all that stuff is approaching quickly. I mean, sometimes you just barely get one season done before the next season's right on top of you again.
Well, doesn't it seem like the summer is getting shorter?
Absolutely.
I mean, they just finished the state softball and baseball tournaments last week, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess, there's a dead period in Kentucky with the high school sports, but football's full blast after that.
Well, we've also got a group of 5 current Murray State golfers up at Prospect, Kentucky, at Hunting Creek Country Club for the state amateur. And this is the 104th year that they've had it, which I think is pretty impressive. I don't know if you guys touch Central City. Connor Coombs is one of our really good freshmen this past school year. He's going to be a sophomore in the fall, and he made the cut and is in 9th place after scores of 73-73. And then you all probably know Austin Knight, who played at Hopkinsville.
Absolutely.
73-74, 147, and he's in 13th place going to the final round today. And I believe all that rain that we got last night is currently going through the course up there, so I think they've backed the final round up today to 11 a.m. But it's always good to see our guys competing at the state level. And, of course, you got the Kentucky Open, which is usually the first week of August, and that's the one where amateurs and professionals kind of play together.
Well, Dave, we really appreciate you coming on this morning and spending some time with us. And, before I let you go, I've got to ask you, I know you're a big St. Louis Cardinals fan just like I am, and, I'm trying to hold out hope and keep the faith and everything, but this season has kind of been hard at times to see what might be toward the end of the season. So what are your kind of thoughts on the baseball season so far?
Well, Friday night when that debacle was happening against the Cubs, I'm from Jackson, Missouri, and my brother still lives in Jackson. And he and I text a lot during Cardinal games, and I texted him I just can't watch this. And I get that way on a daily basis. When you watch as much baseball as I do, you just kind of. Is that where they say familiarity breeds contempt sometimes?
Yes.
If I see Colton Wong swinging a slider in the dirt one more time, I think I'm going to pull whatever hair out that I've got left. It's just...
What they got to do to fix it? What they got to do?
At least we're not watching Grichuk get himself out over and over and over again. I don't know. It's just... the Dexter Fowler thing just really is sad to watch, and it's just puzzling.
Well, and they spend
a
lot of money on a lot of guys.
I'm beginning to think he's done, but he just doesn't look like he doesn't look like he's confident at all. Which who can blame him? We say be confident. Well, how do you get confidence? Well, you get confidence by performing.
Success, yeah.
But you gotta. If you don't have confidence, you can't perform, and he's just. He's basically lost his right field position to Bader, and but the Cardinals need Dexter Fowler to be Dexter Fowler, even as good as Bader has played. And Carpenter has picked it up, Molina hit 2 home runs yesterday. Ozuna has picked it up. They should get DeYoung back here pretty soon. That should help. Carpenter has raised his average 100 points in 30 days. So, but if that bullpen doesn't get fixed, we're going to. Do you guys find yourselves just getting really tense in the late innings, just going, okay, how are we going to lose this one?
Well, and that's a change from the past, because in the past you would think to yourself, how are we going to win this one? How are we going to pull it out? So we've kind of got into that. It's almost become routine to give the game away at the end somehow.
Yeah, yesterday was, of course, Waka got hurt yesterday with a pulled side oblique muscle, I guess. I haven't heard today how bad it is. So the one thing they do have is they've got arms, and they've got some guys at AAA that they still haven't exposed to the big leagues yet. Patrick Wisdom is one. So I don't know. It's kind of the deal where they just got to stay within shouting distance of the lead and hope that when you play all those division games in late August, September, that you can somehow make a run.
Well, that's the thing. If you look at the standings, it doesn't look as bad as maybe it feels it should sometimes.
Well, and then right now they're in a tough stretch of games. They've got Cleveland coming up and Atlanta. So if they could I would think if they could just get to the All-Star break, less than 5 out, then maybe they can get something going in the second half. But I'll never quit being a fan. I know I kind of grumble about them, but it really is a hobby of mine, always has been, and just hope maybe they can move on here and get something going.
And I'm right there with you. I wear my fanhood on my sleeve sometimes, and it's tough,
don't we all?
Yeah.
We love having a baseball guy in the department down there, so you keep it up, buddy. I'm just going to say that.
All right, guys. Well, listen, you guys be good, and call me again sometime.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back.
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Okay.
Love you,
boys.
Dave. See you, man.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So a good update there on Murray State University sports, and we've got kids down there now. We've got another one headed down there to the baseball program. So, David, I know that you love all that about Murray State too.
Oh, I do. It's it's tough right now for the baseball with the firing of Coach Mulder and an unknown in that slot. Especially, this is a crucial time for recruiting, and it gets my blood pressure up. I'm not going to lie to you. I know that those guys like Dave Winder at Murray State, are fully invested in making sure the program's as good as it can possibly be. And so you can lay your head down at night and know that Luke and Shane and the guys that you love, they're going to be fine. They're going to be perfectly fine. It's just a frustrating time as a fan to watch this being drug out.
And a baseball dad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you get a ton of – you got time invested, you've got money invested, you've got –
yeah.
Well, baseball is kind of up against it, especially at a school like Murray State, because, it doesn't bring in a lot of money.
No.
You're trying to spend money on it, and a lot of time the money's not there. You're trying to compete with schools that have more money and can put more money into their programs, and that's a lot of college sports anyway.
It is.
When you look at the successful programs, and whether it's football or basketball, baseball, whatever, the teams that pump more money into their program tend to be more successful.
They are, and I don't think it's any secret, and, he may be calling back, so just turn the phone off. I'm certain of the fact that the athletic department is trending towards moving to the Missouri Valley. That move in and of itself requires a $5 million facilities expenditure. That on top of the state cuts to universities in general, they're sort of just every time you get an extra dollar, you stick a quarter in a hole so you can save it. And you can see that they're planning to do that They just won't talk on the record. It's hard to get those guys.
I know. I'm an old racer, and aren't they a founding member of the OVC?
Yes.
I mean, why in the world? I mean, is there that much more money to go to the Missouri Valley? I mean, because ultimately it's going to be all about the money, right?
Yeah, it's well,
chasing the buck, right?
Can I share an opinion on this show, or is it better that I just did that?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can say anything you want.
Alan, the athletic director, is a basketball guy.
Yeah.
He came from Texas. He took care of a basketball program there, and he's a basketball guy. And Murray State's had more success in basketball than they have their other sports, of course. What Todd said, they spend more money on it.
Well, and you're going to build on the programs that have been more successful.
Sure.
Look at the University of Kentucky.
Absolutely.
When the rest of the SEC was dumping piles of money on their football teams,
programs,
Kentucky put it into its basketball program. And its basketball program is maybe the most successful in the history of the NCAA.
Boy, we have news there today too, don't
Absolutely.
we?
Absolutely.
But we'll get to that later, I'm sure. But yeah, you're right.
But, at the same time, UK football was not treated the same way, and even to this day, still struggles against the other schools because they built their programs over the last 75 years when Kentucky didn't.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of that to overcome. And it's the same thing, whatever school you're talking about, if you go to Western Kentucky or wherever.
Absolutely.
The schools that, had the money put into them originally and had some success, that's what everybody gravitated to. That's where the donors put their money. And so those programs were allowed to build while other programs, didn't get that love.
Right.
And I could point, it's even with the local sports here, people are always willing to give to something that has success or involves kids playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a heartstring for anyone. And Princeton is a prime example. People give. They're beautiful. They give and give and give. And we've established a group at Murray State for the baseball program. People are willing to give, but what people do want to know is that the leadership has bought in and that everyone's on the same page and that we're going in the same direction. So that's the issue. You look at Western, they've had a ton of success in their football program when they made the jump over. I think they continue to build on it. Their basketball's always been solid. And Western's really not any bigger than Murray State. There's just a different vision there as a whole. And right, wrong, indifferent. I don't know.
Yeah. Bowling Green probably has a little more money than Murray.
Absolutely.
As far as like, the business, the industry there.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. I mean, when you look at a school like the University of Louisville, there are so many big companies in Louisville that U of L is able to do some things that even UK can't do.
It's true.
Because that corporate money is there.
Yeah. But David's right. Tremendous success in Bowling Green. It just seems like there's just each and every year, there's just momentum there, whether we're talking about their football program. Of course, their basketball program is steeped in tradition as well, but this football program that they have has really seemed to pick up a little steam, and there's a lot to be said about that.
Well, Murray State was always the breeding spot for good young coaches. You can go back to football,
Frank Beamer,
the Beamer and Nutt and those guys, and basketball has done the very same thing. That Coach Reagan held the reins at Murray State for baseball that nobody ever got bred, so they're still trying to find that. We believed that we had that with Coach Mulder, but the administration doesn't, and they've got their reasons, and we'll find out someday. But I still believe the future's incredibly bright for Murray State athletics, and so fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, and Will Brown's chimed in, and people chime in from time to time.
Oh, he does. What's he saying?
Let's see what he said. He said WKU is second enrollment behind UK, as a matter of fact. But I'm sure they have a lot of commuters and outline, but it is a big campus. So thanks, Will.
Well, and Bowling Green is growing.
It's booming over there, man. I mean,
we lived there for a year in between here and North Carolina, and just a great place to live.
It really is. I mean, there's something to do over there, and it is absolutely booming. So, let's see, where are we, Todd? We are about 28 past the hour.
Take a break.
Let's take a quick break, and we will be back here on the Sideline Report. We're having fun. We've got additions. We thank Dave Winder for joining us. David Brown of Youth Incorporated is here, and we're going to have another guest here in just a moment. We come back from break on the Sideline Report on WPKY The Tiger.
Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444.
And we are back on the Sideline Report at 9:29. We're having good golf conversations. It's raining again, and you can expect that rain throughout the day. And we welcome to the Sideline Report Jared Nelson, the Times leader.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Go ahead.
Well, Jared is the editor, and
That's
of course,
right.
showed good timing and beating the rain.
Perfect timing. Does he show that kind of timing at the?
I think he does. I think he's got a knack for it.
No, it's just experience.
He's writer extraordinaire, though. What a cool little commentary you have.
Hey, I want to say this before y'all know that I yak and ramble, but I've lived absolutely just about everywhere, and there is absolutely no doubt, it's hands down, that the Times Leader is the best, most inclusive, most informative local newspaper of any place that we have ever lived.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you, David.
How about that for a plug?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, drop the mic, man.
That's the truth.
That's all.
It's all downhill from here.
So keep it up. It's all I know to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the paper a little bit.
Actually, it's all busy from here because we got a big paper coming up next week, and then we just talked about with Dave Winder how the seasons turn around so quick. The high school sports season literally ended this past weekend with St. Xavier winning the state baseball championship, but we're already planning for fall sports previews.
Yeah, it's coming up. I mean, you better be on it. I know I'm on it. I'm getting proposals ready to go out. And
we've had maybe, a couple of weeks where things have been kind of not even slow, but, a regular pace. And now summer's halfway over, and we're ramping back up.
Ramping back up for the fall, And, again, Jared is as editor of the paper, and tell us, you've been in that role now for a while. How's it changed? What's been the difference kind of when you stepped in that role and coming to the Times Leader? Again, the writing's spectacular. All your staff does a fantastic job in writing, but I certainly enjoy, and I know a lot of people do, reading what you have to say weekly.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think you and I and Todd we're all kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's not a job so much as a community service.
Right.
So, there's, you're talking about things that have changed. There's a lot more, we get a lot more from the community.
Right. And a lot of that has to do with social media, too.
Yeah. Cell phones, everybody sends in their stuff. They take a picture. And that's what I think, we both like, we can't be everywhere. And when people have the capability, I mean, it's easy to post on Facebook, but, you're going to reach a whole different audience if you send it to us, to you guys,
Exactly.
What, there's absolutely, I have my political stream and I have my religious stream and things like that. But I find it that the paper, the Times Leader, I find it that I can keep myself more well-rounded and better informed by seeing what everyone has to offer, and I think you guys do a great job doing that.
No doubt. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Well, I don't keep up with, kids that play tennis as well as I probably should, but I find out what they're doing when I open the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, everything's not for everybody, but there's something for everybody. I think that's what I look for.
And the nice thing is
you shouldn't agree with everything you see in the paper.
No.
You know, if the paper's doing its job, whether it's opinion or whatever, somebody's column, there should be things that you look at and say, yeah, I agree with that, and there should be things you look at and say, no, I don't agree with that. But
I agree.
It's supposed to be a well-rounded and
That's
informative.
It is, and the nice thing too about our little community too is we all work together. We help each other out, and it's a great relationship to have with when our media companies work together instead of working against each other, because we're all on this together and trying to keep the community informed. The airwaves here are everybody's here in the community, and it's important that we all cooperate and work with each other.
Well, we're here to share information.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of the newspaper or the radio station. It's why we do things on social media. I mean, we'd rather everybody buy a paper.
Well, sure.
But, it's
please
fun
buy a paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you do both? But every community that I've lived in has its neighborhoods, sides, all of that stuff. You guys bring people together.
Yeah.
It brings people together, and I think that's the whole secret to having a progressive, evolving community. I think it's probably essential to have written print and spoken words.
Sure.
And so, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
We love hearing from you, and we've got some big things coming up at the Times Leader, don't we?
Yeah, it's probably a good segue. Next Wednesday, 27th, is our annual saturation issue. It's going to show up in every mailbox in Caldwell and Lyon County. If you don't get the paper, take a look. We hope you like what you see. We put a lot of heart into it, and we'd love to have a subscription or just pick one up at the store every week, whatever you like to do.
Yeah, and the Times Leader is located throughout this community, of course, and there's something still fun for me. I have a digital subscription, but also I find myself not only with that, I like picking up the paper, and I do it every week, and I like that we've got a sports section. I like the color, it snaps, and but check it out because it is the saturation issue. That means basically what that means is that the paper's going to be out there whether you subscribe or not. You're going to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they want you to take a look at it, and hopefully you'll say, hey, bing, 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 I can have this mailed to me. I can go online and get a subscription to it, but it's neat to get that paper in the mail or pick it up at the store each and every week.
I always like to say that the comics are worth $1.
There you go.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're getting the comics for $1, and the rest of the paper is free.
Yeah.
And not too long from now, you're going to have all your fall sports previews coming up.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be here before you know it. And you just get some really great writing as well. One thing you need about paper, we don't do an editorial necessarily here on the radio, but you can get feature writing and a different perspective on things by reading Jared's column or somebody else that puts a column in there, whether it's a national syndicate or whatever. And that's a pretty neat thing, too.
It's an incredible Christmas gift. We know that in small towns, a lot of times people that were raised here, they may move off for a job or whatever it may be, but they still have roots here. And to be able to tap into that year-round, I think folks should really consider buying a subscription for a Christmas present. Yes, and sharing it with family members that have moved off. It's one of the best gifts you can give.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and the greatest thing is if you buy a subscription to the paper, you get the online subscription as part of the deal.
That's right.
And so you can go on there. A lot of times the paper is posted, late Tuesday night or late Friday night for the next day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's right there. You don't have to wait for the mail to come.
You just get online.
Wherever you're at in the world, you can.
There it is.
Yeah, and our the website also has an e-edition, so you can see actually every page of the paper.
Right.
If you're on vacation, whatever.
That's right.
You're not missing out.
Awesome.
real quick, I want to remind people, too, that our back-to-school section is coming out July 25th. So anything you need to know before the kids head back to class.
That's unbelievable.
Doesn't seem like
it's almost here, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Today I was giving my forecast. I'm living a week ahead for some reason. I was given the July 4th forecast for next week, and I don't know why, but I mean, for some reason,
better than being behind.
I'm living a week ahead of myself.
There were kids everywhere going back to school.
We got out. Blink your eye, kids, because get ready. Mom will be dragging you to buy school clothes, new tennis shoes.
Well, football season starts August 17th. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that means we'll have our scrimmage August 10th, I'm assuming. So the preview section for the Caldwell County football team will come out the Wednesday before that first game, which must be August 15th.
Yeah.
Man, that doesn't seem like it's that far away. And like I said, we're trying to sell it. If anybody wants to advertise in it, all they have to do is give us a call.
Yeah.
Even the saturation paper next week, I believe we could still fit a few ads into that.
You
could probably figure that out, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about it.
But be looking for that, because it is something that happens, annually. They throw the paper out there to everybody, and just be looking for that saturation edition. That's going to be, when is that again? Say that again.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other good things you got on your list there? Looks like you got some complicated algorithms. You've been at the slide rule.
No.
Oh, okay.
Todd's going to have a busy August. We've got volleyball, soccer, and football coming out, and then of course Caldwell Line band. Don't want to leave the band out.
No, of course not.
Going to be a lot of stuff for the end of the season. Yeah.
No doubt about it. And you get all that stuff. It's some of the best coverage around, and we encourage you to check it out. So.
Well, and this newspaper shortage thing is going to have to get out of here, because I've got too many pages for August.
Yeah.
Well, we're not shorting the preview section.
No, not at all. So, all right. Well, Jared, you're welcome to stick around. We're going to talk some old WPKY song stuff, and we're going to talk. We got some more sports to talk about too. Lots of things going on sports wise. We've got a golf tournament going on in Arkansas, weather permitting. And then we've got kids that are out there working hard to get ready for the season, and we've got some big news out of UK basketball as well. So all kinds of good stuff. Let's take a break, collect ourselves, and we'll come back here on the Sideline Report at 9:40. It's the Sideline Report, brought to you by the Times Leader and these other great sponsors. We're going to hear now from one of our sponsors, Bashir Sawmill on the Dawson Road in Princeton. Back in a moment on the Sideline Report.
Get spruced up this spring with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on the Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years.
At 9:41, back on the Sideline Report, Ty Englebright and Todd Griffin, along with David Brown of Youth Incorporated and the editor of the Times Leader, Jared Nelson.
And it's top 5 time. We have a top 5 list.
Okay, yes we do. Go ahead and kind of explain the top 5, Todd.
Well, we did our top 5 last week of old WPKY songs from the old WPKY studios on the Dawson Road.
Yes.
Well, this week we're doing the top 5 songs we forgot last week.
That's right.
And I'm not sure which one of us goes first.
I think it's me, and I probably could have probably 5 times these 5 songs. But I'm going to start off, and we talked about it last week. My number 5 is Smuggler's Blues by Ben Fry.
I like that one.
Yeah, it seems like we for some reason that album just kind of stuck out at you from time to time. Of course, that was the time of Miami Vice, and he guest starred on there. And so and it was kind of a cool song. And I know you got in trouble playing that song one time. I
did.
Some of the content there was a little controversial at the time.
I just think the lyrics are misunderstood.
When that was before the days of rap, but it broke down all those barriers. And
but I spun that one quite a bit, so I put it on my number 5.
I've got a tie at number 5. It's Knowing Me, Knowing You
ABBA.
by ABBA. And All by Myself by Eric Carmen. Because somebody used to request that every night.
Yeah.
So we played it like every night.
Yeah. That's pretty tough. And they must have been all by themselves. That's the only thing I can
I don't know about that, but they like the song.
Somebody needs to check on that guy.
All right, I'll go to my number 4, and if I can read it. What does that say? All She Wants to Do Is Dance by Don Henley.
Don Henley.
And I had of course, that's off the Building the Perfect Beast album. That came out in '84, and of course, The Boys of Summer was the big hit. But that one just was one of those that was easy to get to all the time, and just kind of was a great cover. So All She Wants to Do Is Dance, and I pulled that one, spin it quite a bit.
Yeah. Number 4 for me, Who's Crying Now by Journey.
Yes,
I just remember playing that song a ton.
Yeah, and of course that's off the Escape album, I think. Yeah. And that cover was worn out there because it was played so much.
That was that dude that used to call and say "all by myself," and then he bounced back, didn't he? He bounced back now. He came in. He said, "Who's crying now?"
I love it. You had this one on your list last week, and it kind of just sent something off to me, so I included it on mine. This Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, yeah.
And that's off the Mirage album.
Yes, we did decide it was on Mirage.
Yeah. So
it took us 3 guesses, but we got it.
Yeah, we did. So
okay, my number 3 is the Little River Band, The Night Owls.
Yes.
One of my favorite songs
ever.
Oh,
yeah. And that's one I consider that a deep cut from the Little River Band. It wasn't necessarily... it was a big song. About everything they put out was a hit.
It was playing every time I walked into Pizza Hut.
Oh, yes, there you go. And that's one of those songs that just it takes you right back to the era.
But that was on like a greatest hits album, I think, that we had.
I think it was.
And there were just a ton of great songs on there.
I was always a Cool Change guy. I just always spun that one.
Oh yeah, it could have been right there too.
Reminiscing every now and then, but yeah. Okay, my number 2 is. What was my number 2? I can't read it. What's your number 2?
Okay, I'll do my...
I got my number 2. Caribbean Queen, Billy Ocean.
Oh, yeah, I love that song.
The reason why, that's what we call the bathroom song.
Yeah.
It was 8 minutes and 2 seconds. Yeah. It was either 7:52 or 8:02. I can't remember.
It was up there, yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Good
one of those
song,
things.
Though.
If you wanted to talk on the phone or eat a hamburger real quick or go to the bathroom, Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen.
All right, my number 2 is No One Is to Blame by Howard Jones.
That's a great one.
Just love, it's a neat little song, and for some reason, the single version is the one everybody's familiar with. The version that was on the album was a little more jazzed up. It sounded a little different. It was a complete rearrangement.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think we have just the standard version here at the Tiger. We play it.
That's the one everybody knows, but such a neat little song.
It is. And Howard Jones was on a run there in the mid-'80s. Oh, yeah. He really was. My number 1, and this was kind of weird. It wasn't around a whole lot. But it was on the contemporary charts. It's ABC's "Be Near Me." We had it on 45.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And
what's the lead singer's name? He always
Martin
wore like
Fry.
a suit. Yeah,
Martin Fry.
He was always dressed. To the nines.
He was a little odd duck. Yeah. But yeah, he was always dressed. Yeah, he could sing. So that was one that I really liked and spun it quite a bit.
I think you will like my number 1.
There's no doubt.
IGY by Donald Fagen.
I've got the CD here. I love it. Yes. My favorite cut off that album was New Frontier, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's about the bomb shelter and being up there. Yeah. Of course, Donald Fagen, one half of Steely Dan.
Yes.
Basically, and talent. Unbelievable talent.
But we mentioned last week about Baker Street, how when you just hear those songs, it reminds you of the radio station. And
that one really does.
IGY was one of those songs that just it worked for WPKY somehow.
Trivia: do you know what it stands for?
Yeah, I do. Does anybody else know what it stands for?
No
idea.
It's International Geophysical Year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, that album cover is my Facebook page profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a.
So I knew you would like that.
That's a great record. I do. I love it, and that's a great pick. And I'm kind of disappointed I didn't choose something off that album.
Well, I thought maybe you would have that.
You can come back next week.
Yeah.
You can come back
I
next
told
week.
You it would be different. So
eventually we'll have more top 5s that we forgot. But We may list every song we ever played while we were out there.
963-9038 if you're texting us. Will Brown's using my personal number, which is okay. He's my buddy. I think you need to do Best Van Halen and let Todd redeem himself.
Okay, so he doesn't like the Hagar stuff. That's what he's saying.
That's pretty good.
That makes it good. That does.
That's pretty good.
That's all the comments we always get, though. Love your guys' show. Don't like your music.
Yeah, no, they don't like our music or our movies, but we're weird, so that's why. So, anyway, Todd, and you guys, where are we going to go sports wise?
Well, we talked about Emma Talley is back in action this week. That's a
Walmart,
54-hole.
Yeah. Is it
Northwest Arkansas.
Hole? Yeah.
Starts Friday. I have not seen a tee time yet for that, but it goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Thank you, Jared.
All right.
And y'all check that Times Leader out. The saturation issue, that is next Wednesday.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. Take care.
All right. That's Jared. He is the editor. He is taking off. He's got a meeting he's got to get to. While you talk, Todd, I'll find Emma's tea time.
All right. I hope it's on there someplace, but she took last week off, and you've got to take a break or two.
Sure.
That tour
it's
schedule,
grueling.
and it's all over the country. And
Yeah, we tried to get her for that baseball thing, and she was already gone.
Yeah.
It was in January.
That's what we've talked about when she was on the show, not too long ago, that it's a job. It
is.
People look at it and think, well, she goes and plays golf every weekend, but, they're expected to be there Monday or Tuesday of each week.
8:03 a.m.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
And it is a weekly. It's a job. I mean,
it is a job.
It's Tuesday through Sunday, and then boom, you're off to the next location. So
guess who her playing partner is?
I haven't even seen yet.
Santiwiwa Thanafong. I guess she's from Thailand, is what I would guess. I don't recognize the flag.
Say that one more
how
time.
do they say that?
Say that 3 times in a row.
Santiwiwa Thingafong.
Okay.
Santiwiwa Thingafong, I think. Think-a-wing, the thing-a-thong, thing-a-thong, thing-a-thong.
You got it, you got it.
But I think that's how you would say it. But anyway, so 8:03.
And more big news from the world of sports. The NBA draft is tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky will probably have some people taken in that thing. So
yeah,
if you're a UK fan, that's must-see TV.
That's must-see TV. But the bigger UK news is, I think, the transfer in from Stanford, isn't it?
Reed Travis, the big guy from Stanford, a grad student, so he's eligible right away. You're looking at a guy that's probably a preseason first-team All-American, and Kentucky was going to be pretty good without this guy. As a matter of fact, after they announced the whole thing became official, ESPN's way too early top 25 moved Kentucky up to the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, and I think Larry Vaught wrote to that respect as well. Saw something that he had written saying that pretty much propels Kentucky to the number 1.
Well, and this guy's going to be rare at UK. He's going to be a senior.
Yeah.
He is, you're right.
Yeah.
And can play.
A
senior that can play.
He might be the best guy on the team. He's projected as a first-team All-American. And Kentucky was bringing back some guys like a P.J. Washington.
Exactly.
Who was in the running for SEC
Player of the Year. And then look at Cal's recruit class.
Absolutely.
And, boom.
The Hagens kid reclassified.
Sure did.
He's going to be eligible. He's got about 10 guys that are going to need playing time last year. So
and all of a sudden,
this next year. So that brings us up to what he did a few years ago, the platoons. Does he go back to that kind of deal?
I hope he presses. From end to end. He's got the depth.
Yeah, he's got the depth. And
they've got the guards.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the lineup, everybody's a guard, except for those 3 or 4 big guys. You've got Reed Travis and P.J. Washington, Nick Richards, all those big guys. But everybody else looks like a guard, and a big guard.
But all of a sudden, Kentucky's Kentucky, but, man, they're with that, they're kind of the team.
Well, when you look at last year's
loaded.
team, and everybody was saying, well, Calipari's kind of lost it on the recruiting trail, and then you look at what he's got this year. I mean, I can't believe nobody's thrown out the undefeated word yet, but I think that's probably he's coming from somebody.
I hope not.
They got to play Duke. They got to play Duke in November.
Yeah, that's right. He's amazing though, because just to listen to his show, I remember some of those years when we didn't have that great of a team, somebody'd call in, and they'd be giving him a rough time, you know. And, I mean, I kid you not, every time he had that person eaten out of his hands by the time they were through. And that's just the kind of guy he is. I mean, he's one of those guys that has just got it. And, I mean, can you imagine him coming into a living room and selling the University of Kentucky on just not only the tradition alone, but just the facility, what it is, and then having him talk to your kid? I mean, how does anybody resist it?
To me, one of the greatest things that Calipari does is when he goes and talks to a recruit and he says, you know, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and if this isn't how you do it, then Kentucky is probably not for you.
Yeah,
we found that out just in the limited recruiting that we went through. College coaches are brutally honest initially, and then when they want you, they fluff it some.
And that's interesting perspective, but you're right.
They say that Calipari is brutally honest
throughout.
And if that's something you can handle and that's something that you're willing to endure, then he's your guy.
Yeah.
And it says a lot to all the coaches.
Yeah. And a couple of things coming up that's going to really help UK basketball. And, well, first of all, that trip to Paradise Island in the Bahamas in August, early August, you know, that's going to help this team tremendously. Mm-hmm. It helped the team that should have been undefeated. You know, I think they went to the Bahamas right before that season and really came together. I think this is a chance for this team to come together. And, you know,
we should have asked Jared about sending you on that thing. You got too many previews, I guess, so Ty, you're up. I mean, why not?
Yeah. The radio station could send us down.
Let's just do that. I'm going to buy the tickets this afternoon.
All right.
Dave, you can go with
I'll drive you all to Nashville so you can fly. I mean, I don't have to go, but.
And one of the best things that UK is going to get tonight is free advertising, because they've got two guys that are going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
Kevin Knox and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. If you looked at the mock drafts, I looked at a couple last night. USA Today had Knox going number 11 to Charlotte. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander 16 to Phoenix. Sports Illustrated had Shea going 11 to Charlotte, and then Knox going 14 to the Denver Nuggets. So those guys are going to be first-round picks. Mm-hmm. Hamidou Diallo is probably going to be early second round. Sports Illustrated actually had Jared Vanderbilt going number 47 to the L.A. Lakers. Nobody had Wenyen Gabriel on there. He's probably going to end up having to go the free agent route. But you're going to hear a lot of UK talk if you watch the draft tonight.
Yeah, and that, you know, if you're a young man and you play basketball and you have that perks you up, you know, because that's where they're all ultimately trying to go.
That's right.
And I think you know, Kentucky is one of those places where if you have success there, whether you're a one and done or you stick around, you got a good shot at going to the next level.
Well, and we see a lot of guys reclassifying right now. The Hagens kid, the guard for UK, did it. Charles Bassey, who's going to Western Kentucky, did it. And I think what's happening there is that these people see that one and done rule, the NBA is going to get rid of it at some point.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be one class there that really gets shortchanged, because when they come out, everybody's going to come out because the one and done rule is not there anymore. So I think a lot of these guys are reclassifying and trying to get that 1 year of college in so that they can make that big splash in the NBA draft before that 1 year happens, where just everybody becomes eligible.
I think you're right, and that's pretty interesting way to do it, but that's smart.
And if we can transition one more time, the reason we brought David in was to talk about Youth Incorporated. So.
You guys, I'll come anytime you want me to, and if you never have me again, I won't take offense. You need to take a break or anything?
Well, we've only got one more spot here, but you go ahead. And we've resigned ourselves. We'll go a little early today. So we'll go a little over. So go ahead.
And it's been a great show.
It's been fun.
Going on,
yeah.
But we did want to mention Youth Incorporated. We had some great paving work done at the ballpark this week, and we thank Rogers Group for coming out and doing that. And ballpark just continues to look better and better.
Well, it does, and thanks to people like you Todd, that you guys have been instrumental. We could go down and name all the guys that are on the board. I know that they don't want any recognition, nor myself, but I was trying to think last night the number of capital improvements, and when I say capital, I'm thinking something, $5,000 or more on a project, but that place has completely transitioned over the last few years.
Yeah, it has.
The baseball, softball committee has done a phenomenal job. We've got the Rogers Group practically gave us about $12,000 worth of asphalt and labor, if not more, this week. Came out and paved our surfaces. It was so that we could become. That's a 3-phase process. And this was phase 1. So if you like it, give a shout to Rogers Group. Tell them thank you. But it's all to next year. We'll hopefully do some more. And the following year, hopefully some more will be done. But our ambition is to get a walking trail from Big Springs Park, go out and circle Youth Incorporated, run the creek and the railroad bed, and I really think we're closer than most people can possibly imagine.
That'd be what a huge asset for the town, for the park.
Well, that's the whole thing. Having been a part of some other industrial things and groups in other communities, one of the things people do is look at the schools and the parks.
Of course they do.
That the guys have done, tremendous work out there. You got to say thanks to Ray Mitchell and his guys, Todd, Gary, Kyle, Dwight, and I'm sure that I'm going to leave some off the baseball and softball committee, but they do a ton of work out there, and we're resurfacing 2 more fields, I think, this time. We put
2 backfields.
Yeah, we put new fence around 2 of them last year. It's new scoreboards.
Oh, yeah. And I think is the acquisition complete by the school system on the other fields? I know there's some planning and some phasing.
I'm not sure where that stands exactly.
Okay. But at least that's the plan, I think. And so these improvements can continue.
Absolutely.
Definitely once those get under that.
Well, one of the best things from my perspective on the Youth Incorporated board and everybody on the baseball softball committee is that we've made a ton of changes.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever said, that's enough or that's good enough or we're finished. Everybody's always on to the next thing.
What are we going to do next?
What can we do now to make the ballpark better? And to me, that should always be the way it is.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing.
Even if it's the Taj Mahal of baseball softball.
Absolutely.
You've got to keep making it better. And another great thing is that, when I got involved with it 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever that was, Youth Incorporated had a little money in the bank, not a whole lot. It still doesn't have a whole lot, but everything that's been done and the bottom line is still pretty much exactly the same as when I got there.
Yeah.
When I became involved in it. And I know at one time Youth Incorporated didn't have hardly any money. Jeff McDaniels did a great job when he was president.
Phenomenal.
Trying to turn that situation around. Can't say enough about Farmers Bank. The bank card,
it's been
$1,000 a year out of that to Youth Incorporated.
I think I told you yesterday. It's been over $40,000 that they've contributed.
Yes,
and I guess it brought it back from the dead. We weren't here then, but it obviously has been a huge help.
Well, it's like a lot of things, to me, growing up, the ballpark was the place to be.
Absolutely.
But at some point in time, it just, didn't get the attention that, you have to give something like that, and it kind of got away from everybody, and everybody involved, and I like to say we when talking about Youth Incorporated because I've been out there so long.
Yes.
You're part of it. You live it. You've helped. You've been a huge part.
Oh, he promotes it. Yeah.
That's what you do, man. And it
played
is
out there, coached, umpired, I've taken up money at the gate. I've worked in the concession stand.
Done the announcing.
Did the announcing.
Scorebook.
So it is. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. And boy, what a fun place to go. And for somebody who, I had a kid that played out there. I played out there briefly when I first moved here, but just to see the overall improvements and each and every year, each and every season, to see that, it's good stuff.
Well, we have a lot of other plans in the works. It's just
absolutely.
You can't do everything all at once.
No. Hopefully we'll do another show and we can get some of that, just share the vision. We're doing a tree memorial green project out there this fall where we're going to initially plant 20 trees where for $250 we're planting either a red maple or a tulip poplar and a 12-foot tree, and you have a memorial granite stone that sits there, and it's to memorialize someone that has impacted your life there at the ballpark or contributed, and gonna make things even more green, create some shade, some safety barriers are included in this, and hopefully it all fits together and continues to make it better.
I know that people maybe had a little bit of an issue when you closed off, being able to drive down through there. But, of course, safety for the kids, number one, and the patrons there is number one. But, boy, that has worked out really nice, and the parking situation has improved quite a bit as well.
Well, it was...
you just can't say enough about it.
Well, there's always going to be some differences of opinion on what you should do and what you shouldn't do. The parking situation is probably something that should have been addressed 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, we've never had an issue, and to me, it's a whole lot easier to get around. It's easier to go to a concession stand.
It is.
Without just cars parked everywhere.
And then that,
I was against it. I was completely against it, and I still don't like it. But I have to say it makes the park better. It really does. Yeah. And it gives us safety has got to be first and foremost for the kids out there. And the other aspects, it gives us additional space to create green space. It gives us additional room to make things we can rearrange things now. For instance, when the school finishes their deal, the playground there, that's the next deal. You can grab a kid at the playground and be on I-24 before the police department got there. It's a safety concern.
Yeah.
So it's got to be moved back to the middle of the park so that we could have a safe barrier for the kids. And with no cars being able to get there, now we can move the playground back there and kill two birds with one stone. So it's the great part about being on a board that has some accountability, and guys are there for the right reasons. They love the kids, they love the sports, and they love the community. And whether Todd agrees with me or not, he can put his arm around me at night and say, "Hey, think about this." And it just works.
Yeah,
it just works.
And y'all are basically, the season's starting to wind down there toward the end of next month, I guess. Is pretty
the
soon
league
here?
Season actually just
over. Yeah.
But there's a softball tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. A youth baseball tournament.
Kickball tournament there this weekend.
Yeah, there's kickball on the two backfields this weekend.
Yes.
So.
Big deal.
Vision West Kentucky having a kickball tournament out there.
You talk about the radio station being the community's radio station, and we talk about the newspaper being the community's newspaper. That's the community's ballpark.
It is.
You want people to go out. We want kids to be out there and be able to run around and have fun and not worry about somebody running them over because they couldn't see them and because traffic was so congested. I used to joke that our ballpark had the only drive-up concession stand.
There you go. Yeah, well, you can put the drive-through in, right? But you're exactly right.
I hope that people see that it is better. I hope that we want to hear from people in the community. Yeah. We want to hear how can it be even better.
Yeah.
And come and contribute. Unfortunately, a lot of times you get the negatives. Well, this coach or that, this team or whatever. But the only way that we could ever reach the totality of our vision is to make sure that it is a complete picture of the community. And that takes voices in the community to add to it.
Well, and the thing about the ballpark, and I go back to when I was younger and out there a lot, I don't remember a lot of games that we won or lost.
No.
I can't tell you what the record of any of my teams were.
No.
But I've got friends to this day
yes.
that I have because we were on the team together. We hung out at the ballpark together.
Yes.
We remember those things, and I can't remember who won or lost or what our record were, what place we finished in. I mean, I think sometimes we get wound up in, who won or we had to try to win the league. And, I mean, it's great to win, but
and it's a great place for a family. Families, grandma, granddad, mom, dad, aunts, uncles. When little Johnny's on the field, a lot of times everybody's out there cheering little Johnny on, and it's the whole community.
And you know what? We're going to make concession improvements. That's a focus for this upcoming season. And you can go out and grab a dog and a drink and not break your family. No. Enjoy the night. There'll be some shade next year, hopefully. And it's I hope we just got back from Disney World and I paid $9 for a hot dog.
Yeah.
So basically, we just want it to be another gathering spot for the community, and hope that, with continued support from you all and the service of those on the board and the community, we intend to do so. So thanks so much for putting a spotlight on it. It's a heart place for me, and I know for many others.
Yeah. Well, just so many people that donate money or time, effort,
Yes.
That's what makes it work.
It does, and thanks really the entire community, but we've got a board of good, fine folks that are kind of the head and the vision and the steering and the direction of where it goes, and can't thank them enough, and your leadership there, and just really the whole community comes together to make it all work. It's really great, so thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. A couple other short things, Todd. We talk about athletes. You sticking around or you taking off? All right. Well, we want to talk about, it's the off season. Our athletes we've got athletes in many sports that are out there.
But there's not really an off season
There's not anymore, but we've got some got to mention these girls soccer players. Of course, our Caldwell County High School team without a coach. A couple of girls and young ladies have been putting forth a lot of effort. They've been working out at the high school, and that's Kaylee McEnany, Lainey Fletcher, and Kelsey Adams, kind of taking it upon themselves. They're out at the soccer complex doing ball work out there during the day. So to see these young athletes out there, they're honing their craft and doing it on their own. Even without a coach.
I was going to say, it's really tough when you don't have your head coach in place.
Kudos to them. And, of course, a lot of our athletes, so a lot of them will take it upon themselves sometimes in the off-season. Like I said, there's no off-season, but when their sport isn't really being played, to stay in shape and get exercise. But that's pretty neat that, without any guidance and direction, these young ladies have put together a workout regimen to do their footwork, for their ball work, and their training and to get ready for the upcoming season. So,
well, and I think the Lady Tigers are prepped to have a pretty good season.
I think so. Yeah.
They were region runner-up last year, two-time defending district champion. Right. So I think they'll have a good season. I think a lot of people are excited about football coming up. Volleyball is going to be really good again.
Volleyball is going to be fantastic, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with our soccer teams as well.
So it's, a lot to look forward to in the fall sports coming up.
No doubt, and like we talked about, it'll be here before we know it. So kudos to all those athletes out there that take it upon themselves to stay in shape and keep on top of their craft, and to do it on their own. It'll be exciting to see what kind of coach that the Lady Tigers get as well in soccer. So.
And one last note before we get out of here today, we lost Big Van Vader this week. I know you're a big pro wrestling fan. David, I don't know if you're a big pro wrestling fan.
We used to watch it.
Yeah. I had not heard that.
We used to watch it, yes.
Big Van, I did not know that.
So R.I.P. to Vader.
Oh, man. I did not know that. Yeah. So that is, that's those names from the past that come back and you go, wow.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah. So Rip, that's good.
What's your top 5 next week? What is it?
Top 5 Star Wars characters.
Yeah, top 5 Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
You're on top of that one, aren't you, Dave?
I'll send in my list.
Anybody is out there, get ready for that. And I think we've got we'll probably have a special guest for that one, from what I understand. So.
Gary Goodacre, the professor, is going to sit in with us.
The professor's going to sit with us, yeah. No Pete Van Waren, but it'll be Gary Goodacre. And we have another famous announcer. He used to be called the Professor. His name is Pete Van Waren for the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we all grew up watching the Braves on TBS and
how
the Cubs
about the
on
Braves?
WGN.
3 games up in the National League East.
Unbelievable.
Good young team.
Yes.
And fun to watch. I don't know. We're coming up on the All-Star break here in July. Hopefully they'll have a good second half, too. It's fun as an old Braves fan.
Oh, yeah.
So, David, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do in this community. I mean, you're so animated and so fun during our games out there, and I know you have a passion for it. You got boys playing ball, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Thanks again for what you guys do.
Yeah,
we love and appreciate you.
Yeah, it's fun.
And hopefully we shared some good information today. Like I said,
lots to talk about, and there'll be lots to talk about next week as well.
I'm on Twitter at ToddGriffin100. Mm-hmm. If you have anything for the radio station or for the newspaper, please get it to us.
Yep, and we'll share it and we'll get it out there. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And again, as usual, we run a little over, but it's okay. It's airtime and it's fun, and we're doing it. And before we go, I want to tell you about Dave's Deal of the Week. We're going to leave you with that out at U-Ride, and you can test drive it out at U-Ride on Marion Road. We certainly appreciate U-Ride for coming on board with us on the Sideline Report. Also, Bashir Sawmill and ABC Finance. See Jody, Sarah, and Virginia out there. If you need a home improvement loan to go on vacation, or any kind of financial need, ABC Finance out on the Princeton Plaza will fix you up. So
thanks to everybody who listens. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to everybody who's been, very accommodating as far as coming on the air with us. So we've had some good guests.
Well, we certainly have, and it gets wild and woolly in here switching between phones and everything else. But we'll, as long as you can hear them and see them on the stream, we're in good shape. It may take a second, but just bear with us. So thank you all very much. And Todd, one last word?
No, I think that's it. I think we hit everything that I had notes for, and just a busy show, and I like it that way.
I do too. All right. On behalf of Todd Griffin and David Brown, thank you so much for joining us. The Sideline Report at 10:14. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Fantastic Thursday. Rain in the forecast. Keep listening to the Tiger. We'll keep you up to date on the weather as we go on. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. And it's that time where families are busy. You're on the go. And